Welcome into the studio, guys. Today I'm going to take you through a very efficient upper body warm-up. This is for chest days, back days, upper body days, push days, pull days, any type of upper body training that you're doing. I think a warm-up like this will be efficient and actually save you time. Too many warm-ups have too many movements that don't do actually much of anything, and it keeps you from the most important part of your training. And I think too many people get hung up in the nitty-gritty. So 5-step warm-up for the upper body that will take you 5 minutes. 5 movements, 1 minute each. But before we get into it, we're gonna start with movement 0. And movement 0 is a cardiovascular warm-up. Filmed on this channel recently a lower body warm-up, and it starts with the same thing. And that is because a warm-up on a piece of cardio equipment for about 5 minutes, and even if you don't have cardio equipment, you could use a jump rope, you could use a jog, you could use a brisk walk. You want to raise your tissue temperature. Our standard body temp is about 98.6 degrees, and we contract our muscles best closer to 100 degrees. So a little cardio for about 5 minutes is going to get your tissue temperature elevated, and it's going to get the blood moving around. Now, I don't care what you use, but I would recommend that you keep your cardio pretty low intensity, just enough to break a little sweat and get the blood flowing. Now, our first movement for our upper body warm-up is going to start with the most important joint for all of your upper body training, and that is the shoulder. For years, I focused on doing 2 things for the shoulder: mobilizing it so I can get access to all the range of motion I want, and also stabilizing it so I feel good working through that full range of motion. So we're actually going to start with our shoulder mobility exercise, and it's going to be a face pull. I program these a lot, and I really like them because I find the range of motion most people don't have that good of access to is this overhead position with external rotation. And that's exactly what a face pull trains. A face pull pulls you into overhead external rotation. And when you think about it, overhead pressing, pulling, lat pull downs, pull-ups, chin-ups, neutral grip pull downs, straight arm pull downs happen in this plane. And the ability to get into external rotation is huge for our ability to bench press, to cable fly. And if we can unlock that with a movement rather than just some passive stretch, I think you'll hold on to that mobility much more quickly. And quite frankly, the first movement of your warm-up being an actual lift, I think that's a lot better than just pulling on a band. And yes, sometimes I will do band pull-up arts, but if efficiency is the name of the game, I'm getting right into the cable rope face pull. And if you set a timer for a minute or aim to do about 15 to 20 good reps here, pulling into external rotation, you're gonna feel your rear delts, your rhomboids, your upper back. They're all going to start to warm up, and you will unlock and get into a lot of this external rotation. And once we've mobilized this joint, one thing that I think makes upper body training feel a lot better is stabilizing this joint, helping that shoulder be able to lock it down, as I so often say. And a movement I really like for that is a bottoms-up press. The other thing that I quite like about the bottoms-up press is, much like the face pull, it's an actual movement. It's an actual lift. And the bottoms-up press is cool because it works to create wrist and shoulder stability. And when we look at the joints of the upper body, we have the very stable shoulder, or the very mobile shoulder, which we just mobilized further, the very stable elbow, and the very mobile wrist. So we want to improve stability at these mobile joints. And then bottoms up press allows us to do this. So I like to take my hand and stick it out to the side, should look something like this, and press overhead for about 10 reps a side, or if you're doing time, probably about 30 seconds a side. It's going to help me with my pressing, be it horizontal or vertical. It's going to help me create stability at the shoulder and stability at the wrist, because when the kettlebell is held upside down, there's a much greater force requirement from me, the lifter, to create stability. And so, pretty simple to switch over to the other side. Same thing, we want to make sure we get both sides for about 10 reps. Something to mobilize the shoulder, something to stabilize specifically the glenohumeral joint in the wrist. And when you do it like I just showed you, from that half kneeling position, I think you'll find you get quite a bit of core too. The next two movement types I'm going to show you are to get your nervous system active. And I think you can do this very quickly and very efficiently with a medicine ball. And there's two primary movement types that I think show up a lot in resistance training for the upper body. Overhead shoulder extension, think presses and pull downs, and then a more neutral elbow-based extension or horizontal row. Think rows and chest presses. And so what I like about these two movements is I can access both of the main movement types that I'm going to probably be doing in my upper body sessions, get my nervous system jacked up and ready to go. So the first one is an overhead throw. And for the overhead throw, full stretch of the lats. As I come down, I'm crunching the abs and I'm following through with the arms into shoulder extension. Flexion into extension, training that whole arm path with power. Boom. Okay, so 1, 2. Probably only need 5 to 6 reps. Think about speed and power. It's not about cardio. It's not about getting tired. It's about putting force into the ball so that when you actually go lift, your tissues, your nervous system is already ready to go. I would usually do about 1 round of that overhead, and you can do about a minute. You can go boom, reset, and get about 5 to 6. Then we're going to do the same kind of thing in a different plane, and this is like a chest pass. If you've ever played basketball, chest pass, right? That's going to get a little more pecs, hinge at the hips. I'm trying to break the ground. Triceps, chest, shoulders, lots of power, lots of force production coming from those two movements. You're getting elbow extension, chest activation, and it doesn't take a ton of time. But if you get prepped like that, you're going to be ready for the 5th and final piece, which is just getting into your first set. And I think a lot of people miss this. The goal of a warm-up is to get to the first set of your exercise as quickly and efficiently as possible. Because all of that shit's great. It works. But nothing works as good as full range of motion resistance training. And if you have an hour and you got to spend 30 of it warming up, you are missing out. So first thing is first. Do the prep work you need, but you are in a way kind of rushing to the first lift. So the final piece is this warm-up set. And we'll say that the movement of the day is overhead press. I'm going to do 6 to 7 reps of overhead press. And if I'm starting with 135 on the bar, I'm going to then put like 25-pound plate on the bar. I do another 6 to 7 until I'm right at my working weight. My goal with all of these warm-ups is to efficiently and quickly get into my session. Okay, so once I'm ready to go, once those warm-up sets are in the tube, the faster I can get, and usually my goal is within 2 to 3 sets, to my first working weight, the better. So remember, something to mobilize the shoulder, something to stabilize the shoulder, bring the trunk in. We use the bottom-up press. Something to prime the nervous system. We did overhead flexion into extension, and then we did a chest pass to get our pushing musculature. And then we're right into our warm-up. Like, no excessive use of bands, no excessive use of the foam roller. Not that those things can't work, but I do find them to be less efficient than a strength, movement, dynamic warm-up that is specific to your session. And just make sure that once you get through those 4 steps, you get right to exercise number 1 and start your warm-up sets. If you guys like this video and like these abbreviated, efficient, professional warm-ups that actually work for real people, be sure to hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell to be notified of future videos, and subscribe to the channel. It's only going to get bigger and bigger as I come with hopefully weekly videos moving throughout the year, all designed to help you get in better shape.